Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you all so much for your patience. Um, I don't know what to say. I started pulling on the thread, and you know what happens when I do that. Um, anyway, um, oh my goodness. I tell you, these Twitter streets are on fire. Do you hear me? Somebody is getting dragged for the old and the new. Um, for the wait. What was that? What? Oh. Sorry about that. Okay. So let me get off of Twitter Street and get back over here where I belong. All right. For those of you that are not on Twitter, know this much. I am going to always do my best to present the very best of what I find on Twitter for you. Because I have a second home and it's on 433 Twitter Street. So, okay. All right, let me see who's here. Let me see who was first. Let me see. Wow, you guys have been talking your behinds off. I'm scrolling trying to get to like whoever was first, and I'm still not there yet. Ann Fu, thank you so much, Ann Fu, for starting everything. Hey, Church Nelly, Noreen Bengali, Connie Balmer, who's been waiting all this time. Hi, Connie Balmer. Okay, so because it is getting late for some people, I'm just gonna scroll through, make sure that there are no things that I need to see, like soup chat, soup sticker, and or anything else particularly important, and then we'll get started. Oh, let me do that, and uh, boom, there we go. By the way, you guys, I made another one of those food truck videos this morning, or at least it may be a food truck video. We'll see how it goes. But it is like one of my best edits ever. At least I think so. And I couldn't let it go. I'm just like, this is pretty solid. So thank you all so much who have watched it. I really, really do appreciate it. Hey, Rick, Fancy. Catherine Bryant, Mo Shannon, Miss P Talks, Annie Bennett, Christopher Parthament, T.R. Sirag, Calavetta, Najagu. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so let's go on. So, where do I start? Ooh, where do I start? That man right there sure knows how to stir up a lot of trouble. It seems like it was just the other day he was trying to decide whether or not Charles, or how did he say it? After they blew out the candles, someone's going to dangle a child over the balcony. They seem to do that a lot where the Sussexes are concerned. And thank you, Elaine Parker, for watching. Um, yeah, that seems to happen a lot. If it's not Harry, it's Meghan. If it's not Meghan, now it's the kids. I think there's always been like this weird tone with the children, something that makes me very uncomfortable. However, coming from Robert Jobson, someone who really should know better. So, just to remind you guys, unless you haven't heard it yet, Robert Jobson, at first, Robert Jobson decided to make his Twitter account private. Then all of a sudden, he didn't have a Twitter account. Although there were some people who say that allegedly he had a burner account. we seem to think that all of these so-called royal reporters have a burner account. I know I have one. I had to get one just so that I could see what they were saying about me. Well, I'm just kidding. I never talk to them. And it's weird because even though I don't really uh, post a lot on the Twitter, as some of you guys know. And in spite of that, I have been blocked by several royal reporters. Some of them I've never said a word about them, or I never said anything on their Twitter and they blocked me anyway. So, anyway, I know, right? A crane, and of course, a team of weightlifters and everything else. All right, so here, Prince Harry was infuriated by Charles saying he couldn't pay for Meghan after he told of their engagement, with even the Queen finding his complaints about Charles tiresome. Now, this is coming from Robert Jobson's book. And as you guys know, Robert Jobson has spent countless hours talking to the Queen and having lunch with the Queen, going horseback riding with the Queen, going to the horse races. I'm just kidding. None of that never happened. I don't know that the Queen has ever met Robert Jobson. I'm going to tell you two reporters that I know for sure the Queen has never really spoken to. One is Camilla Tominey. You can tell because the only photo that she has of the Queen is literally her in the same space and not even facing the Queen. The Queen was not facing her. The only person who has a profile picture on Twitter that looks more ridiculous than that is that hog-haired Piers Morgan. Same thing. They just happen to be in the same space, and Piers Morgan said, "Here, take my picture." And that's what he uses for his profile. Now, I would be embarrassed by that. But Robert Jobson, as you can see, pretty soon he's probably going to change his profile picture. I don't know how they're going to get the two of them in there. It's kind of like, well, I don't know. I guess if you crop it enough, but I don't know what's bigger, Jobson's hog head, no neck, or Charles' big catcher mitt of a hand, or Charles's childbearing hips. Is going to be very difficult, but I suspect that Jobson is going to make this the new profile photo for his Twitter. May as well. He did write that book about William's 40th birthday, and so here he is back again for the coronation. Now, I kind of knew he had a book coming out, but I don't recall a release date. And least of all, I don't recall it being just before the coronation, but it makes sense. I'm surprised there aren't more books, but so the book has kind of, come out in the bang, so to speak, because not only is this information that has been kind of rehashed about Harry being angry about Charles not willing to pay for Meghan. Although I don't know that he was ever angry about it, but I know he was disappointed. And then, of course, there's this idea they're trying to say that Harry was raising his voice to the Queen. Now, this is new. This is new. I've never heard that anywhere. But this insinuating that Harry was having these big emotional outbursts with the Queen. I know that didn't happen. You all know that didn't happen. But apparently, this is what the book is insinuating in so many words, is that Harry could not control himself in front of the Queen, and the Queen didn't want to talk to him anymore. And oh man, I tell you, for someone who doesn't even have a photo with the Queen, he seems to have, although having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if one doesn't pop up tomorrow. But as far as I know, I think if he had it, he would have already shown it. But so just I think this is actually worse than. Well, let me see. Tina Brown's was pretty bad. Tom Barrow, his book was pretty bad, but those were. I want to say those were mostly focused on Meghan. This one is mostly focused on Harry. Yeah, this seems like it was kind of custom made so that it could try to steal the shine off of Harry's book and somehow try to raise the fortunes of Robert Jobson's book. I'm just guessing. That seems like the strategy is that it was timed for the coronation in a way that may even garner some type of sympathy of some type for Charles in time for the coronation. It is interesting, almost like they went back and did a rewrite. Sorry for the echo. It almost seems like there was some sort of a rewrite. I'm just saying, this seems like it. Thank you so much, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Saturday to you, and happy Easter in advance. So I'm gonna. Oh, Rick, thank you so much, and thank you for the super sticker. Happy Easter in advance to you too. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, darling boy, don't read the papers. Pa injected to Harry. Um, what is it? Tabloid papers are spread across the breakfast table in Buckingham Palace. Oh, how he hates the tabloid media. But oh, how he loves their. Oh, that's Harry's voice, actually. How he hated the tabloid media, but how much he loved the love whenever he got it from the tabloid. That is a quote from the book. I do recall that one. All right. So, moving on here. Well, this is what also came out of the book. I want to say there was like five rather disparaging things directed at Harry or Harry and Meghan. Um, and of course, if you really want to inject some form of sympathy, if you really want to infuriate people, start the whole thing about the black woman challenging the English rose. That's what you have to do. You have to make it the angry black woman, and of course, all of the troubles that she brought with her and how that upset everything for the very delicate English Rose, who was just minding her business and wasn't bothering anybody. Well, I'm going to try to dispel some of that if I can, bringing forth as many receipts as I can possibly gather. Verta Sanchez, no, they're telling a lie. Prince Harry would never disrespect his grandmother, and the only reason they put that in there was to make people think Harry has a temper when we all know is William. And that is so true, Verta Sanchez. That is the whole point of it. I guess if you cannot seem to destroy Harry's relationship with the military, the only other thing that I could think of that would be hurtful to him is that of his grandmother, someone who he loved and respected, to a point where it seems to grate on the nerves of some people. Like today, I was listening to Henry VIII, which was absolutely fantastic. And even Henry VIII was saying that Harry seems to have a soft spot for his family, not just his grandmother, but his father, his brother, and so on. He doesn't seem to really take people to task in a way that we as squatties probably feel is sufficient. So, yet you have this Robert Jobson's book, and of course, the article from the Daily Mail and others that are going to try to paint Harry as the raving maniac who cannot govern his emotions. And even his sweet little old grandmother was subject to his wrath. That is the new talking point, I suppose, is that Harry was rude to his grandmother. This is probably a first. This is probably a first. I don't recall anyone trying to paint that picture before, but we're getting close to the coronation, so here we go. Now, this is going to be a short lived victory, if it is a victory at all, for those trying to disparage Prince Harry or try to degrade him. Because the problem is, even though this is going to probably get the attention of some of the royalist baby boomers, alt right, Megxit voting, MAGA supporting people to choose that side. With most younger people, I think this barely makes a ripple. But that is the tactic, I believe, is to try to erode the support that Harry has just received. And reportedly, there is a 4-book deal. So I guess we're all going to be busy. We're all going to be very busy. Thank you so much, Berta Sanchez. So before I go on, I'm just going to take a look at a couple more comments here. Leg says, let's see, was Jabba on Harry and Meghan's phone call with QE2? How would he know? Jabba is trying to bring himself into relevance again after threatening Archie. Pathetic. Yeah, you know what? And that is, I'm so glad you said that. We have to make sure that we get that trending again, because notice how this only seems to come out after that has kind of subsided. And of course, at the time, most people were saying, oh no, we're not going to let go of this one. We're going to make sure that we get everything we can out of this and make sure that people are aware. I mean, because when you think about it, there's a reason why one of those royal reporters, actually, maybe a few of them, I'm not sure because I don't watch morning TV, but I noticed that quite a few of those royal reporters are not on American TV as often or at all in some cases, especially the one who literally lost her eyelashes from all of the stress that she suffered after being caught out by a couple of pranksters. So when you look at it like that, it is worth making sure that we keep this right there, front and center, so that people like this who decide to write a book to try to erode the support of the Sussexes, maybe they'll think twice about it. And at the very least, we'll just have to make sure that they get caught out. Thank you so much, Legs. Thank you so much for the super chat. And happy Saturday to you. Happy Easter in advance. Okay, let me see here. I think I saw another super chat. Okay. Oh, wow, it's Legs. There we go. Wait, so they care. Listen to QE2 and her wishes. Huh. Well, as far as the Queen is concerned, she's asked for certain things, or should I say, she required certain things. And it seems as though the courtiers were not paying attention to her. It seems as though Charles was not inclined to follow anything the Queen said. I think toward the end, this is just my opinion, but I think the Queen was a bit isolated, especially when they moved her to Sandringham, and then suddenly she found herself up in Balmoral, and then that was the last time anybody had ever seen her alive. I think once that happened, it was pretty clear that the new regime, the new court was in full session, Charles' royal court. And of course, that means that William's fortunes were about to be elevated because now he's a billionaire. As a matter of fact, they say that the Duchy of Cornwall is bigger than that of the Duchy of Lancaster, which Charles holds now. So I don't think that people even paid attention to the Queen that much. Even the royal reporters, the last stink that they made was when they tried to, when she said, call Camilla a consort. And even now, you can see how far people care about that. Thank you so much, Sabrina Dixon. Hello, Squatties, Baron. I would beg to differ. The hardest thing Kate has ever had to do, besides speak, is live with the fact that that person and those people are being factored into her royal life. And yeah, exactly. Okay, I have to be careful with those. Joy Amore, thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for watching. Royal Sussex, happy Saturday. Oh man, it's a lot of comments. You guys are a bit heated right now, huh? Okay. Goddess Live says Harry and Meghan were suspicious on Walkabout, thinking it was going to be a gaping hole in their security. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys, let us remember before this happened, they were riding this huge crest of success and love and celebration in Dusseldorf. And then next thing you know, when they came over, it was so that they could go to an event for what was it, Well Child, and Meghan also had gone to, Harry and Meghan went to One World, right? They went to One World first, then Dusseldorf, and then they came back for Well Child, if I remember the order correct. And then next thing you know, the Queen was dead. So, what horrible timing for everyone involved, I say. That's right, Teresa McDougal. We roll on. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get on to it. So, this supposedly was the hardest, the most difficult thing that Kate has ever had to do, right? Kate found Walkabout with Harry and Meghan one of the hardest things she's ever had to do. Just one of the astonishing revelations in a new book that lays bare the War of the Windsors, serialized in, oh my God, you know what that means, you guys? Drip, 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 drip. That means there's going to be an ongoing drip, drip, drip of this probably for the coming week. Seriously. When they say serialized, that means that they are going to have something new every day. And I tell you, they're off to a solid start with all this. So, oh my goodness, we are going to be busy, you guys. We are going to be busy. So, tell you what, stretch those keyboard fingers, you guys, especially those of you all on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also you content creators. We're going to be busy because this is going to drag out for sure. So I'm rested. So this is supposed to be the most difficult moment in Kate's life, one of the most difficult moments, right? How about let's see, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle held hands as they supported each other. Now, pretty sweet, right? That's what the mirror said. But of course, where there's a mirror, there's a reflection. And sometimes what you see in the reflection is not really attractive. Now, for the Sussexes, of course, yeah, it is attractive. But for the people who write the mirror and some of the people that read the mirror, their reflections are pretty awful because what's reflecting back from the paper is someone who hates for no reason, someone who seems to believe everything that comes out of that rag. And so it's not a good reflection on their individual personalities, most of the people that consume those tabloid newspapers. Let me explain. So right here, I was looking at this morning. I found it rather haunting how the photo from the Commonwealth Day in 2020 looks hauntingly, shockingly identical, not exactly identical, but looks somewhat identical to the Queen's funeral. So there you have the Sussexes in the back row, and not directly behind them, but further down, just like it was. This was the first time I've ever done a side by side of those two photos. Although I have to say, it seems as though the Cambridges have aged significantly. Well, you can't see Kate in that photo, but it seems like William has aged significantly, even as blurred out as that photo is. Um, Harry looks tan and rested, but of course, in mourning, grieving his grandmother. Uh, this time, you can't even see Meghan's eyes, but very interesting the way the body language is there. William doesn't look as defiant as he was at the Commonwealth in 2020. So, but then again, he's a billionaire now. And then, of course, this individual, I don't really need to talk about her right now, but let me just say this. I will never, ever forget that moment. Actually, those moments. And I guess it started with the Commonwealth. And then, of course, as I said, William seemed to be more defiant, more full of himself there. And then, of course, there was the scene outside of Westminster Abbey, and of course, the glaring look from the back seat of the car, as well as the last glare as they departed from the St. George Chapel. I will never forget that person, never forgive that person, or should I say, for those glaring looks. Um, I guess the only thing I can offer is a lifetime of being dragged because I definitely intend to do that. All right, so right here. Now, so let's say, for the sake of argument, that what they've said about Kate is just the opinions of the writer. That is Robert Jobson, right? That's just his opinion. So surely, if it's not true, the royal family, the um, Kensington Palace or Clarence House or Buckingham Palace, one of them are going to come forth and say, hey, what you say is not accurate. Kate has not said that, and we can't confirm it or deny it. However, when there is something that is briefed that is disparaging to Will and Kate, what do? They lawyer up, they write letters, they make phone calls, and all of a sudden it stops. Like, for instance, Kate is so tired. Kate is exhausted. Kate finds it exhausting. She's exhausted. Remember how tired she was? They wrote about it in the Tatler. And what happened? They drafted a letter. There may have even been an attorney or a barrister or whatever involved. And then all of a sudden it stopped. It stopped. HRH, the Duchess of Cambridge, is crowned Catherine the Great on the July-August cover of the Tatler, of course. However, the story wasn't very favorable to her because one of the most entitled people on the planet was portrayed as being exhausted and unable to cope. Not exactly the image that they had in mind for her. And then, of course, there's this Kate who had to be mercilessly yanked out of a round table that included Dr. Jill Biden. They had to get her out of there because people were going to realize something that we've all known, and that is she ain't that sharp. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed. She's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. She's a wart puck on the hockey game of life. She doesn't have both oars in the water. Her elevator's not making it to the top floor. She's about a tree short of a hammock, about a brick short of a house. Um, a dim street lamp on the street of life. I mean, she has splinters in the windmills of her mind. Whatever you want to call it, it was going to be quite obvious that she's not really fit for purpose. And as someone just pointed out, I'm trying to think, was it the lady Sussex? Someone just said that on this occasion, they really should have paired up uh, Camilla with the first lady, but they did not. They put Kate. And once Andrea Mitchell asked Kate a question, all hell broke loose. All of a sudden, they were yanking the cords out the wall, turning the lights down, gathering up all the papers and easels, and they had to get them out of there because she was about to be exposed as a bit of a dimwit. And the royal family could not let the English Rose look so vulnerable. But everybody knows what was coming next. They were about to expose her as being unfit for purpose, not really with it. And it was an scheduled. Oh no, I'm sorry, it wasn't that. It was a spontaneous question from the American media. So anybody who has thought, oh boy, the Cambridges, well, the Welleses, they're going to be coming over here trying to steal Harry and Meghan's thunder. Not if they can't control the press, they won't. Okay, you got me? Not if they can't control the press, because the last thing they want is for someone to ask an unsolicited, unauthorized, unapproved question. Because if that happens, then everybody is going to know who the real Kate is. You know who she is, right? Let me remind you.
People who aren't necessarily reaching out, who are struggling, who perhaps don't feel they can reach out, or the fact that maybe they haven't realized that addictive behaviors has sort of
you could do so you want him to do you so much you could do anything. You want him to do you so much you could do anything.
So public speaking, not her strong suit. So I would say that this moment, this moment could not have been one of the toughest things in her life. It had to have been public speaking on any occasion, like when the American media, the American press corps, asked an unauthorized question, like about the baby. And of course, things went south from there. So I would say that's one of those occasions where one can deduct a lack of preparedness. And then, of course, that would seem like something that was excruciatingly painful to her. Lex says, Ramona Roselle won a photography award for Spare. Yes! Yes! Congratulations, Ramona. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that, Legs. Very, very cool. Thank you. Okay. Okay. And let's go to this one. Palace denies Kate Middleton got baby Botox. Remember that? Now, this was not true. And because it wasn't true, according to the palace, they decided to double down on the idea that this is made up, this is unfair, how dare you? See what I'm saying? They pick and choose where they want to stop the news getting out. And then, of course, notice the name down there at the bottom on the right, Dan Wooten. Kate Middleton has a fallout with a glamorous best friend and tells Prince William to phase her out. The Duchess of Cambridge views Rose Hanbury as a rural rival, and the fallout is much worse than we first thought. Now, that is from Dan Wooten. Nowadays, you couldn't pay Dan Wooten to say anything like that. But again, that was one of those things that they literally picked up the phone and put the brakes on it. See what I'm saying? So a lot of the tough things that she faced, they will put a stop to it. But again and again, when Meghan was going through the worst, nobody did anything to help from that family. So this is what's supposed to be really tough for her, right? We know that public speaking and otherwise, but this was supposed to have damaged the English rose. Now, speaking of English rose, then of course they couldn't stop all the magazines. Showdown, After Scandal Explodes, etc., etc. Well, they have successfully stopped any further conversation about this. But in exchange for that, it seems like the Sussexes have been sacrificed not only at Camilla's altar, but how about Will and Kate's altar? You see? Because there's definitely a story there. Whether or not it's true, I'll let you guys decide for yourselves. But all of these things were suppressed while they were telling the Harry and Meghan, my darling boy, just don't read the papers. Joan Lawman, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. And Afia Sam, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for being here watching Royal Sussex with us this fine Saturday before Easter. Greatly appreciate it. Now, what else might I point out today? So, for someone who has had a turbulent career as a princess of the realm, check it out. This is Kate, who is in a lot of pain and distress, as we all know. Like when she went to the Duke of Westminster's memorial, or is that supposed to be the Duke of? Oh, anyway, she went to that memorial. She seems to be in great spirits. She goes to the Holocaust concentration camp. Never had it so good. Remembrance Day. Let me play with my hair extensions. And then, of course, feeding the homeless. Oh, boy, those poor people. I mean, their stomachs are touching their spinal cords. And then, of course, the Queen's funeral. Lots of glares. And then, of course, they had that reception, and she's rubbing the arm of the president of South Africa, and all of that stuff that was going on because she was in deep mourning, right? And of course, Philip's funeral. Remember the peacemaker? There she is, smiling and grinning at Philip's funeral. And what about a children's hospice? Oh, I mean, it's like a hyena, isn't it? Or the 911 memorial. That tickled her pretty good. She was in good spirits. So, as you can see right here, Princess Pushy, Kate's new private secretary, rejects job to stay away from bullying. Now, that was, of course, this past March, remember? And also, and notice that that comes from the Telegraph. That comes from the Telegraph. Kate is saying, let me see, let me pull that down so I can see it. I mean, there's a lot of inconsistencies here. So let me see. I don't know. Let me see. Kate Middleton saying that walking near her biracial sister-in-law is the hardest thing she's ever had to do actually tracks. She's never been this distressed anywhere else she's gone, but in the UK media aren't ready for conversations about her being emotionally stunted. Of course not. They're not ready for those conversations. I am, and I will. So let me continue. So, right here, troll alert, troll alert. Now, remember, um, this was before the Sussexes went to the Australia. What do they call it? The Oceania tour. This was prior to the Oceania tour. And this, of course, is when there was still this pretense of one big happy family. And of course, when Meghan walks past, there goes those two trolls right there. They had to kind of break it up a little bit, like, girl, you're so funny. Now, again, Kate found walkabout with Harry and Meghan one of the hardest things she's ever had to do. Now, I would think just going to the 2020 Commonwealth Day should have been tough, but no. I mean, William is full of himself and feeling well and looking quite arrogant. Kate, of course, just like William, they both walked in and did not speak to Harry and Meghan. The only person who spoke to them was, of course, Uncle Pennywise. Other than that, nobody else spoke. Right here, Meghan made Kate cry. Bride's strict demands over Charlotte's dress reduced her to tears. Well, if this big lie was told, um, a couple years ago, then why would we believe anything that's coming from Robert Jobson today? Right? That was a lie then. And of course, we only found out that it was actually Kate who had upset Meghan. As a matter of fact, you haven't heard the palace deny. You haven't heard the palace deny that that was true, right? They have not given a full-throated denial to that. Now they've denied Botox. They denied that she was tired. They denied a few other things, right? But they haven't come out to deny this one. And this one is pretty big, isn't it? Kate Middleton feels exhausted and trapped over enormous workload after Meghan Markle and Prince Harry effectively threw the Cambridge children under the bus by quitting as royals, sources told Tatler. So now that story that comes from the Tatler must be true. But when it was about Kate being exhausted and overwhelmed, and as a matter of fact, isn't this again Kate exhausted? Oh, you know what? That's from that same period, isn't it? The Catherine the Great. So they pulled it from the Tatler, but it was still reported in the Fail and a few other sources, I suspect. Truth over tradition. Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And of course, every so often, Kate lets slip the veil. Now, this was early on in her princess career. Now, mind you, she was about 30 when William finally said, okay, None of the others allegedly said this. None of the other women will have me, meaning that he was holding out for someone in an aristocratic circle, but they refused. Nobody was interested. And rumor has it, this is unconfirmed. I don't know it to be true, but they say that the reason why William broke up with Kate that time, and it was all over the news, is because he was trying to make clear to any possible um, baby makers, someone who could produce a hybrid of the of an aristocrat, another snob, just in case somebody could help me produce a snob. Um, I need someone with blue blood. And since nobody came forward, then he was stuck with Kate. That might explain the reason why they always glare at each other. So this is Kate in front of the cameras, unable to contain her discontent, even in front of the cameras. Oh, she's tough. She's tough. This is the English rose that is so fragile that it just destroyed her to walk with Meghan. But look at her right there. I mean, she looks like she could just pinch your head off and hand it to somebody else. Wow. What a lesson in contradictions. She's so fragile and so innocent and so easily shaken. And yet she looks like she is about to shoot a laser out of her eyes. Now, which is it? Because we've seen this Kate, either she's laughing or she's ready to rip your head off and hand it to you. So which Kate are we dealing with? Please let me know because I can't keep up. And then, of course, letting slip the veil. How many times have they come up with the mother of all photo ops where Kate, for no reason in particular, will find herself in the company of children, and eventually she cannot keep those grins held in place, and she lets slip. And even the kids, I mean, look at the kids. Look at the kids. Now, if you were in class and they told you that the future queen, a real life princess, is coming to class today, children, is this the reaction that you would expect? Instead, it looks like they're doing a tornado drill. Instead, it looks like there's a hurricane coming. Not a princess, a real life princess like in the Disney cartoons. Yet there is a complete lack of enthusiasm. It really makes one wonder what has happened before they managed to coerce those children into place. Now, in the future, these children are supposed to be royalists that are going to go through the polling process like they do. And they're going to say, yes, we should keep the monarchy. Yes, I still support Will and Kate. I don't think that's the future of these kids. It's more like, get my agent on the phone. These are child actors who is about to, as soon as they're done, they're going to say, cut, get my agent on the phone. Get me out of here. That's what it is. These are children actors, allegedly. and away from the camera, there's a bunch of stage mothers and, of course, agents that are going to whisk them away and find some real acting for them, because this one, I don't even think Sir Laurence Olivier could make this enthusiastic. So, as per usual, Kate on numerous occasions have let slip the veil. Katie V, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I just want to bring some balance to this because as you know, when they start pushing on the Sussexes like that, it just makes me feel better to push back and to remind people, especially the hate watchers and listeners, that the immaculate heart of Katie is not so flawless, not so great. There is a few weak points there. So again, thank you, Katie V. Okay, so let's go here. Now, why would Kate find it so difficult nowadays? If she is going through difficulty, is it because she's ill prepared for the work that is required? Like this one, the public is tired of the royal family's performative philanthropy. William and Kate's ill fated food bank visit shows we're losing our appetite for royal posturing. This is why they don't allow black people to work in the British media. This is why. You can get a few to carry the water for the family, but then when you have an independent journalist like this one, then you can get some, you know, real information. Like Ralph Leonard here, he said that the public is losing their appetite for this, but they believe that this works. When you ask people about the sovereign grant, you know what they say? Well, it's part of the bargain, isn't it? They're going to do charity, and also they're going to represent us. And of course, we don't want a president because look at what's going on in America. All of that made a lot of sense for a while. It did. It did make some sense until a couple of things happened. Number one, Boris Johnson. Well, actually, I got it in the wrong order. Number two is Boris Johnson. Number one, Brexit. The mother of all trade deals, a unification of Europe through a common market and other alliances and agreements was done away with. Now, the monarch is supposed to have the power to govern parliament. After all, the parliament is formed in her name, now his name. So when something like that happens, you're supposed to be able to raise up your scepter and call upon the great golden stagecoach and get down to the parliament and dissolve it and put some real politicians in there. Right? Wrong. They don't dare do that. And so Theresa May and all the rest of them passed Brexit. And and of course, the prices went up. The economy is shrinking. People are afraid to turn on heat, and the shelves are empty. The cupboards are bare. Now, that is what the monarch is supposed to do, is to give a measured response anytime somebody tries to destroy the government, to destroy their subjects. Well, that didn't happen, did it? Did it? No. So instead, for the price of 350 million pounds a year, you have a bloated royal family that does these performative art projects like going to a food bank and then laughing, and then going to a memorial and then laughing, and then you go to a community center and you don't bring any food. That is for the lofty price of 350 million pounds a year. Oh, wait, you guys, I forgot. I almost forgot. I'm showing my ignorance. What about all the tourism that they bring, right? Wrong. They do not bring tourism. There are not a single extra tourist around because of the royal family, as evident by the neighbors like France, Germany. They get more tourists than Britain. Versailles is the most visited royal residence in the world. And guess what? There's no royal family there. So what do you need them for? What do you need them for? What purpose do they serve? I would say, oh, she wears pretty clothes, but this week, though Kate and William face backlash over their visit to a food bank, though we cannot know whether the couple donated to, criticism ranges from them turning up empty handed in a luxury car to questioning the merits of visiting a food bank like one might visit a museum or an amusement park. Exactly. And that's exactly what this is. It is performative. It does not exactly measure up to what is needed. It is all theater. The only thing better than being busy is looking busy. And of course, when someone asked her a question, I recall Kate said, "Well, I'm actually just here to learn today," or something like that. It was something where she no, I think she said she was just here to observe. She didn't really want to know anything. I mean, look at her face. Look at her face. I have a few pictures of her that I use because I'm just shady, and a couple of them come from the food bank fiasco. So, TRC Rug, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Okay. Oh, there it is right there. Remember, I just said there's a couple of pictures from the food bank that I use again and again. Now, I would love to say that she was so emotional and so moved by what she saw at the food bank. No, it took 55 minutes to get out of there. That's why she looks like that. When they left, William didn't even turn around to say goodbye. He just waved and walked out, and Kate was in tow and didn't even look back at all. She just, didn't say anything. They wanted to get the heck out of there. But on the way in there, they were smiling and grinning from ear to ear. Didn't bring near a can of soup, didn't bring near a piece of bread or butter, nothing, not now. So that was just one of those occasions where the Cambridges showed up empty handed. And of course, maybe that was the most difficult thing that she's ever done. Maybe walking with the Sussexes, this probably wore her out. I mean, she could have been at home laying across the couch. And of course, that week before the Sussexes came back to the UK for the last Commonwealth in 2020, this was Kate the week before in anticipation of Meghan showing up. No kidding. She was on the high street shopping, no doubt looking for something decent to wear because she didn't want to be upstaged by her sister in law again. And of course, that was when Meghan showed up with those colorful outfits and put the smack down. But yeah, this is Kate on the high street. I believe, I forget which shopping district it was, but yeah, she went shopping and someone snapped some photos of her. And if she doesn't look like a rogue meter maid, I'm telling you, this is the real Kate. When she's not smiling like she should be locked up in the booby hatch somewhere, this is the real Kate. This is the Kate that they hide from the public. This is Kate when she lets slips the veil and you just happen to see her. I mean, she looks mad as a hatter. I mean, just I'm telling you, this gives me real female correctional officer vibe. She looks like she works in the women's prison. And of course, there's this one. Now, this was at, I believe it was Wimbledon or something like that. And I remember I had saved the photo for obvious reasons. And then a couple days later, I saw that they were upset. Well, that Kate was upset about the photo. And I was like, wait a minute. They airbrushed that photo. And so I went and looked in my archive and I found the one on the left side. And I said, look at there. No wonder she was angry. And so I guess they said, well, let us airbrush this photo for her. It didn't make much of a difference, but they did. Now, see what I mean? When something really bothers them, they know how to pick up the phone. And I suspect that there had been an airbrushing. Now, over here, Kate Middleton is reportedly having a very difficult time with stress and anxiety now, says royal expert says, and that was in November of 22. This is when they were trying to demonstrate to people how upset the Cambridges were that the Sussexes abandoned their duty and left them all this difficult work. Like, speaking of difficult work, so the Cambridges were busy for the month of, let me see, I guess end of February, the start of March or something like that. Anyway, we're not going to see them probably until the coronation. You know that, right? The kids were out of school for spring break or whatever. And so usually this time of year, it's the keening season, first of the year. Kate is keen to do this and keen to do that. This I learned that from Celovichy. And so Kate was keen to give us those the shape of us and all that. And now you're not going to see her for like a month. Yeah, she's resting up for the coronation. And then they'll do everything for the coronation, and then they'll probably take off for another couple months and probably come back in September. Seriously, they're going to take off and probably come back in September. You know that the royals don't work during the summer, rarely. Kate Middleton reportedly fired her personal assistant out of nowhere, and Meghan Markle gets the blame. Huh. Well, that doesn't surprise me. And then let's take a look here. The Princess of Wales is getting her revenge on Meghan Markle by shaking up her staff, a royal expert has claimed. Well, we all know that Kate, before this last round of keening, was supposed to be cleaning house. But what they didn't mention and what they have been keeping secret, did you guys know that Kate had gone without a personal assistant for about 2 months? And as far as I know, she still may not have one, because remember, the last one that she tried to hire said, nah, I'd rather stay over here and chop onions with John Oliver. No, thank you, but no thanks. I don't want the smoke that comes with that. It's a little hot in that kitchen. So as far as I know, she still doesn't have a personal assistant. And then, of course, the Mirror, same paper that tweeted that, Kate Middleton is taking her revenge on Meghan Markle with her major change, says expert. Speaking on the royal beat, royal biographer Duncan Larcombe says that the hiring of a new private secretary for Kate Middleton comes as revenge against her sister-in-law, Meghan Markle. Now, this is briefing. This is why the Sussexes left. This is briefing. The Mirror didn't just get that story out of nowhere. They're briefing against the Sussexes. That which the royal rodents say is not a thing is a thing. Because if that's not the case, then why wouldn't the Cambridges or the Kensington Palace, why wouldn't they pick up the phone and tell them, hey, that is not true? Because it is true. And they're trying to stay relevant, so they keep floating stories like this to the public so that they can look like they're doing something. Otherwise, if it wasn't for this, nobody would pay those two any attention. The last few scheduled appearances they had, nobody was interested and nobody cared. There was just a handful of people that were associated with whatever church or charity. Those are the people that show up. They have their families come. They put flags in their hand. That's who shows up. Other than that, there's nobody there. You guys know my famous photo that I like to show you guys all the time. Not only was there no television audience, but there were no people standing outside trying to wish them well, except for that one little family back there with a kid in the stroller or pram, if you will. Mom, dad, and look like a little pubescent boy that's in tow. That's the crowd. That's the reason why they need mounted police. They need a SWAT team. They need all kind of protection to keep the crowd back. And yet, all you see is a basic nuclear family, an all British family, a typical British family, just on their way to Tesco's to find something that they can heat and eat. That's it. Other than that, it's like a big fat nothing burger. Vegan burger. A big fat nothing vegan burger to save the atmosphere. Regina Mercedes, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. But yeah, there's nothing going on. Not a thing. Nothing to look at, folks. There's more security. There's more courtiers. There's more photographers and journalists than there are bystanders who can't wait to see Will and Kate. Oh, they stayed up all night so they can get a good spot, right? I mean, look at them. You could see that family, they literally slept on the ground hoping to get a good... They slept on the ground hoping and praying, desperate to get the best spot so that they could look at the back of William's head, so they could watch Kate wave in her hands. They wanted the best spot. YM Droid says Will and Kate had more gates than people to greet them. Right? It was standing room only for the gates. But thank you so much, YM Droid. It is seriously a deficit with their turnout. And then Kate Middleton allegedly having breakdown over face down with Meghan Markle, Royal Gossip says. Now, that was May 21st, 2022. Again, if any of these things are not true, they need only pick up the phone. They pick it up to dispel rumors about affairs. They pick up the phone to dispel rumors about Botox. They pick up the phone for what is important to them. But if it's something that disparages Meghan and Harry, they have nothing to say. Now, this, I'm going through what I think could actually be painful occasions for Kate. How about this one? Do you remember when Egg and Bones visited Norway? Was at the time Kate was, with child, as you can see right there. And the Egg couldn't be bothered to wait for her. He jumped out that plane, out of a private jet, of course. He leaps out of his seat and runs down the steps. And look at poor Kate. Look at poor Kate. Now, this should be what bothers her, not Meghan. Walking with Meghan and Harry, that couldn't be the worst thing that happens. This is pretty bad. This ought to have you up at night gnashing your teeth. How could my husband jump out of the plane and run down the steps to greet the, they're in Norway? Yeah, the Crown Prince of Norway and his princess wife, and just leave me to make my own way. But that happened. Now, did the tabloids make a big fuss out of that? Like, William, how could you be so careless? No, that wasn't the story. The story is, oh, look at Kate. Oh, she looks so nice. Oh, she's wearing a coat dress under her coat. She's got on a coat and a coat dress and a coat under that coat dress. She's got on 3 or 4 coat dress stacked one on top of the other. And William is shaking hands with the crown prince. Nothing else to see there except for the future king of England has run out the plane and left his wife, the future queen, to fend for herself. That is disgusting. Oh, and let's not forget, it's icy. There's ice on the ground, even though they laid a red carpet, but there's ice under that. Where's William? Don't you believe that this is worse than walking with Harry and Meghan? This is worse. Lex says, imagine Meghan showing up with her beauty, class, humanitarianism, wealth, intelligence, multilingualism, blackness, calligraphy, cooking prowess. She goes again, what they just ascribe Americans to be. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That seems to be the big offense, is that the overly qualified, the very well educated, and of course, already internationally known amongst the people within the charitable community, which is the kind of people that, that royals deal with. Meghan was already a known individual with talent to spare. So I just don't, it seems like Kate would have wanted to have Meghan around so she could learn a thing or two with her baby brain. Uh-oh, I done just got myself in trouble. I done said the B word, baby brain. Oh, Lord, I'm about to get a cease and desist letter from Kensington Palace. I done opened up my big mouth. Thank you so much, Legs, and thank you for the super chat. And looks like Shelly L has a super chat. He's the young Mr. Burns and she's Smithers. Oh, and by the way, you guys, just so you know, the Crown Prince of Norway is actually 10 years older than William. I repeat, the Crown Prince of Norway is 10 years older than William. He's got 10 years on William. And you could also see there in the green, there's his wife. They're actually kissing in public. And there they are holding hands at an official engagement. So since we're doing selfies and stuff, I'm waiting to see when the Cambridges hold hands at an official engagement without using that excuse of protocol. Thank you very much, Shelly L, for the super chat. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Right, some of us? She does have a baby brain. I bet she was up all night trying to figure out, did she just insult me? I think I'm insulted. Now, if you take a look here, and you guys, now, real tea now, real tea. This is kind of sad. Poor Kate goes to the Jubilee prayer service for the Queen. Remember, this is when Harry and Meghan walked in. Meghan set it off like she was mahogany coming up in there. And of course, they sat down. The Queen's closest bodyguard was right there behind them. Well, if you look here, William looks over his shoulder with a big smile on his face and walks out without her. As a matter of fact, he wanted to make sure that he was ahead of her. And poor Kate looks up and realizes, he didn't wait for me, right? Right? I'm not making it up, because check it out. This was the entire event. Well, just a few photos, but pretty bad. There's William looking at the camera like, help, looking like he's in a hostage video. And there they are trying to talk to each other. And then, of course, even when they were in the church, In St. Paul's, William is looking at his shoes rather than talk to his wife. And poor Kate, when they left, William goes down the steps, just like in Norway, just like always. He went down the steps first. Now, to contrast that, take a look at this. Actually, this goes along with it. William and Kate to live at Windsor when he's king, despite £12 million Kensington Palace refurb. So apparently, Charles must have put the brakes on that. They did go to Windsor, but they're in Adelaide Cottage. But strangely enough, around this time, people were speculating whether or not they were going to live there together. Because think about it. They have Kensington. They have Anmer Hall. They have a place in Scotland. And now they have Adelaide Cottage. Now they came up with this clever ruse that they were going to Adelaide Cottage so that they can be there for the kids for the right school, right? However, when they went to the Christmas Carol, remember the Christmas Carol? Oh, I'm sorry. Remember the Christmas Carol? They didn't show up together. I believe Kate showed up first, and then William showed up. They did not arrive together. That was at the Christmas Carol. That was when Kate went and played the same 3 keys on the piano and was sitting up there having visions of Meghan wearing the crown. That's the Christmas Carol. When she was doing, what was that? The Phantom of Westminster Abbey. But nobody in the media said anything, but they did not show up together. They showed up separately. Interesting, right? Right. I thought so. So you got another place. People aren't sure that you're both living there at the same time. And you show up for an event like the Christmas Carol separately. All right. Matter of fact, there's been a few places that they have gone away from each other. And when Kate took her first and only solo trip abroad, she went to Denmark. And of course, the people in Denmark are still wondering what she was there for. But she went to Denmark and William did not. As though that was like some kind of precursor to what's coming next, a preview. Now, interestingly enough, too, if you look at the left photo, there's Eugenie and her bartender husband holding hands. There's, what's her name? Beatrice and the Italian restaurant owner. They're holding hands. And there's Boris and hopefully his wife holding hands. There's what's the other prime minister? He's holding hands. Harry and Meghan, Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, holding hands. And of course, Mike Tyndall and Zara, the tongue ring Tyndall, they're holding hands. Everybody's holding hands, even Tony Blair. But the only people that are not holding hands is Will and Kate. Even Charles and Camilla was holding hands. It was a festive occasion. The Queen has been on the throne for 70 flipping years. It's a happy occasion. But for the Welleses, or the Cambridges as they were then, they could barely look at each other, let alone hold hands. And in Will's case, he couldn't even wait for her. So, again, was the worst, saddest, most awful thing that happened to you walking with Harry and Meghan? Even though you were smiling and laughing at the reception the day before the funeral? Was that the worst thing that happened? Even though you didn't feel like going up to Balmoral with your husband? That was pretty terrible. So every time Kate don't feel like doing something, they always say, "Oh, I suspect it was childcare issues." Like that last occasion that Will went to, and Kate was supposed to show up, right? And she didn't. Why? Because obvious. What was that? It was Roy and Nika. One of them say, "Oh, I suspect she had to stay with the kids," as if she doesn't have a team of nannies and cooks and housekeepers at home. Right? Right. And then, not long after that, they appeared on the balcony at Buckingham Palace looking like the Addams family. Remember the Addams family? Yes, it was the Addams family goes to London. It was the Addams family. I mean, this creeps me out. Do you know when this photo first came out, I could not stop looking at it. I could not stop looking at it. I'm just like, it is the Queen's Jubilee. Everybody is supposed to be happy. But instead, they look like I'm trying to think. They look like their double wide just burn up. That's what they look like. They look like their mobile home just burn up. The dog has run away. The government stopped my pension check. They just closed down the closest hospital. That's what they look like. So, explain that. Explain that. And mind you, the Sussexes, they didn't do anything with them. As a matter of fact, the Sussexes they're not on the balcony. Only working royals, remember? They're not on the balcony. And of course, when the Queen died, it was the stony face. Now, this is what people got upset about, is that when Harry and Meghan's docuseries came out, they is coming up. But yeah, they said that Kate was portrayed as being stone faced. She does have that resting Princess of Wales face. I don't know what else you call it. Now, what people thought it might be, they said that's not what it is. So, what is it? This English rose, this defenseless, the most fragile, the most protected in all of society, I think she's a little tougher than people give her credit for. And then, of course, I started thinking, is there a particular reason why you are so shooken up by Meghan? It almost seems like somebody has taken something away from her that she thought was very important, or at least something that she could rely upon. Someone who was never invited to her home, by the way. As Harry said, he hadn't really seen the Cambridge's house. When they moved in, according to Spare, he thought at some point, oh, maybe today they'll invite me over. And that's what really trips me out about that. Okay, put a pin in that one right there. Harry said in Spare that he was waiting and hoping to have an invitation to come over, that he might regularly come over there and the three of them would hang out, away from doing public duty, right? So the public was gaslighted into believing that Harry and William were really close, and the three of them were like this awesome team that went around and did charity work and helped people and dealt with everybody's mental problem and stuff, right? They had the Royal Foundation. Oh, they're just like superheroes, right? And they just all get along, except, except Harry never really went over to their house. He was always surprised on the rare occasions that he was allowed to visit how opulent apartment one at Kensington Palace was. Princess Margaret's old apartment, the largest in all of Kensington. He was always surprised at how opulent it was compared to the servants' quarters that this nearly, what was he, 30 years old, 30-year-old man lived in, 32 when he got married, right? Yeah, he's still living in this makeshift house from the ye old days. And William has this all expenses paid, newly decorated Kensington Palace with all the furniture and artwork from the royal collection. They didn't even have to pay for that. Meghan had to put a couch on her credit card just so that people would have a place to sit. Now and then the derangers wants people to believe that Charles was giving Harry all this money. Harry, who shopped at TK Maxx. Harry, who didn't have a proper, decent couch to sit on. Make that make sense. And then you have resentful Kate. So far, everything has gone your way. You don't have to work. Nobody expects you to. You don't have to talk. You're, what they call a mute woman. So everything is going your way. You don't have to do anything. Everything is done for you. Want extensions? They do that for you. Whatever you want. You don't even have to put on your makeup. There's somebody there to do it for you. So Harry decides to go for his own happiness, and suddenly her personality has hit rock bottom. William is inconsolable, incandescent with rage, but then again, that is his set point. So between the two of them, William and Kate, they seem to have collapsed under the weight of stepping up in their roles. They were barely working in the first place. The two of them were known as Workshy Will and Duchess Doolittle. That happened before Meghan got there, but therein lies the problem. Meghan was doing too much work. Meghan made it look too easy. The Oceania tour was so easy that Harry began to worry. Sawboss TV says, Baron, I thought the hardest thing for Kate was having her husband helping out in someone else's garden, of course. Because we all have plants and flowers and stuff that are overgrowing on our own properties. And so, yes, that would be difficult, I could imagine. And of course, if you look at Meghan's CV, her resume, which I'm not going to bother with that small print today, but it is quite a lot. And so you have what Kate achieved when she was married into that family at almost 30, coming from a wealthy family. As you can see, philanthropy was not really part of her day. Let me see, volunteering, none of that stuff. She doesn't have any of that before she married into the family. So is it any wonder why it would be so difficult for her to make the adjustment once she got into the family? That's right, Connie Balmer. Jealous. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stole attention from Prince William and Kate. That's why they're so angry. Not only did they take the light away from them, but they also were incredibly happy with each other. They're still happy with each other. And the Cambridges, well, they haven't move the dial in the least bit. It happened before with Princess Diana. Exactly. It happened with Princess Diana. Diana made it look too easy. Diana was too relatable. People loved Diana. And then, of course, the other criticisms: a plastic princess designed to breed. Shows some steel. What is that one? Feeling the Christmas strain. Are you, Kate? What is the other one? Uh, it's a that's a freebie something, Kate. Frock, Kate. Is Charles to blame for William's reluctance to marry Waity Katie? Yeah, remember that? She was Waity Katie. Kate fears shock new photos. Wow, okay. And of course, more Waity Katie. That was her life before she married into the family. Again, that was Meghan's life before she married in. Um, as a matter of fact, Meghan had only just turned 36, and I believe Kate was what, 31? Was Kate 31 or 32 when she got married? But she was over 30. I believe she was over 30. So 30 is long enough to establish a career. And then, of course, look at that. Prince work shy and Duchess Doolittle. And here, and of course, that was before Meghan. Look, 2017. And then over here, check it out. This is the best Kate has ever looked. Even when the tabloids try to uplift her, it's an insult. This is the best Kate has ever looked. Radiant Duchess of Cambridge has her Bond girl moment in bronze makeup with an ornate updo and defined Meghan brows at No Time to Die premiere. Even when it's a compliment for her, who is it about? Who is it about? Who is it about? Meghan. Kate Middleton takes after Meghan Markle and dons an apron to volunteer in the kitchen. Even when she's doing philanthropy. Who is it about? Who is it about? Meghan. She goes to a school. She's doing the jazz hands. They're all sitting at the table talking. And the kids say, "Where's Meghan and Harry?" And Kate says, "What about him? What about him?" Well, she didn't say that. She said, in that very primitive, where is that she from? Buckleberry, Buckberry, that hometown language of hers. What? I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Oh, okay. Yeah, so in that very ancient tongue that she speaks in, from the, ancient times, she said, "What about him?" And again, the best moments for Kate is when she's being Meghan. I repeat, the best moments for Kate is really about Meghan. All of her best moments is either looking like Meghan, acting like Meghan, but never talking like Meghan. I mean, at some point you have to be realistic. But yeah, all of her best moments are about Meghan. Meghan is every place she goes. It is like a stalker. It is like, what was that movie, Single White Female? That's what it is. It's very bizarre that every big moment you have was Meghan's big moment 2 or 3 years ago, right? Every big moment you have was Meghan's big moment 4 years ago. That's weird. And so if you're in a walkabout and somebody who walks like you, talks like you, dresses like you, wears your makeup, tries to do everything you do, wouldn't you recoil? I would. If I thought some nut job was doing everything that I do, and I find myself in the same space with that person, and they walk up on me, you know what I'm going to do? Get back. I'm going to step back because I don't know what you're capable of. I don't know what you're capable of. You're so preoccupied with everything I do. Everything you do looks like me last year or 2 or 3 years ago. Of course, I'm going to step back when you walk up on me. I wouldn't feel safe. I would not feel safe. Meghan Markle set bar so high with podcasts, Kate's radio stint is no real comparison. Every so often, the Express just, after all of that mess that they throw at the Sussexes, every so often they'll get real. They'll get real, and they just, find a way to say, "Don't worry about it, sweetie. Don't worry about it, Harry. Don't worry about it. Meghan's okay. Don't no. She's all right. Um, just try to keep her away from Kate." Just try to keep them away from each other. It's okay. Your best moments are when you're being Meghan Markle or trying to be Meghan Markle. Wow. Wow. And so right here, if you guys remember this occasion, this is when Bird Brain was on the stage with Harry and Meghan before they got married, right? This was before the marriage. And Bird Brain could not really put together a cohesive conversation. And Meghan was just like professorial with her verbiage. And so I believe this, along with the Oceania tour, this was a disaster for the Cambridges. William looked like he was about to call special forces. He did. William looked like he was about to call special forces. And of course, to retaliate, allegedly, this is the conversation while Meghan is trying to have this big wedding that she didn't necessarily want, but it is required because Harry was fourth in line for the throne. So they have to have the big wedding. So, of course, there was this exchange about Charlotte's dress. Charlotte's dress, well, no, that's Kate's part. And maybe, maybe. And Kate said, right. And I told you the tailor had been standing by since 8 a.m. Here at KP. Can you take Charlotte to have it altered as others' moms are doing? And Kate replied, uh, 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 uh. And of course, after Kate said, and maybe, and so, and then Meghan said, well, I'm not sure what else to say. If the dress doesn't fit, then please take Charlotte to see AJ. He's been waiting all day. And Kate said, huh? And that was the conversation. So, so with everything else going on, and poor Meghan is trying to get ready for this wedding, and then you have a mute woman on the other end of the phone. Well, I would cry too, wouldn't you? Now that would make me cry. I would cry for the dress. I would cry for the other kids. I would cry for the mute woman. Everything would trigger me into tears. So, with everything else going on, you have a mute bird brain on the other end of the phone. Oh, thank you so much for the Cash App, and thank you for watching. and maybe okay, thank you for the Cash App. Woo! Thank you for the Cash App. But yeah, that's a lot to deal with. That is a lot to deal with. So, you got dresses to alter. You have a mute woman on the other end of the phone. Angela Kelly is withholding the tiara that you didn't really want because you could have worn the Spencer tiara. You got a lot going on. And no wonder Meghan was brought to tears. Kathy Rose Lou says intelligent Meghan can even interpret. Can't even interpret the Catholic tongue. Exactly. Woo! Exactly. Of all the talents that Meghan has, that she can speak English, obviously. She's fluent in Spanish, and she can even speak Kate.
They can reach out, or the fact that maybe they haven't realized that addictive behaviors
You want him to do you so much you could do anything?
So, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for pointing that out. I did not really take into account Megan's linguistic skills, but now I have a deeper respect for Megan that she was able to navigate those rather murky waters. Okay, so Thrifty Kate strikes again. Duchess of Cambridge recycles white Alexander McQueen coat dress we've seen 4 times already for surprise attendance at, and what is that, Anzac Day service. So I want you guys to pay attention to recycled white Alexander McQueen coat dress. So there was this big debate about whether or not she wore white to the wedding. It says right there, with that same coat dress, that she has worn on several occasions. So when people want to have this debate about whether or not she wore white, and even if it's not the absolute white, considering that you are going to be in such a prominent position on the wedding day, why would you do that? Oprah Winfrey said that she did not like what she was planning to wear to the wedding, and she had her stylist up all night trying to find an alternative because she thought that would be rather disrespectful for me to wear something so close to the bride. So I changed to something else. Um, Oprah went with like a dusty rose color. Kate wore white. I rest my case. This is fragile, very sensitive, easily triggered, heartbroken, tired, exhausted, downtrodden, no assistant having Kate that is so meek and meager that she just happened to wear white to the same person that she muttered those bizarre words on the phone with. Right. And so this is what someone was saying on another platform, that when something like this happens, you know what comes next, right? Gary Goldsmith. Gary Goldsmith. Anytime Kate gets dragged, enters the most pious, the most honest, benevolent, the most God fearing, God loving, charitable, kindest person that one might ever meet. That's who, excuse me, they drag out to defend Kate. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's taken to his Twitter already. Usually they'll have him on Australian television. That is one of his favorite haunts, is the Australian television networks. But yeah, they're going to drag out Gary Goldsmith. Yes, Kate's Uncle Gary. Uncle Gary, the black sheep, if there were. I hate using that term, but I don't know what else to say. The black sheep of the Middleton family. Um, if you notice, I just noticed this. Is he wearing a skull and crossbones on his jacket? Oh, maybe I will leave him alone. But yeah, there he is in the kitchen, um, measuring some sweet and low for his coffee. There he is watering a plant in some construction site. There he is with someone that I believe he's not exactly married to. And there he is right there. Let me see, what's the other one? Oh, well, anyway, he's a mess. But yeah, that's Uncle Gary, the most pious, the most benevolent people that you're ever going to meet. Sean says Harry just won an award. What? What award? Are you serious? What? What award? Let me take a look. Let me take a look. I didn't know that. What is it? What is it? American photo. Oh, yeah. If you're talking about the AIAP American Photography AP 39 selected winner. Okay, I got that one. I think that's for the photographer though. But yeah, so Ramona Rosales won American Photography Award for Prince Harry's spare book cover. So that is a thing. So yes, congratulations to the photographer. But if Harry won something else, I don't know about it, but I hope so. Huh. Okay. Well, thank you for that update. Anyway, I'm looking. Oh man. I see somebody shared this image of Thomas Markle holding that chicken drumstick dressed like Henry VIII. Love it. Okay, but yes, thank you so much, Sean, and thank you for the super chat. Happy Easter. Shelly L says, okay, hear me out. Uh, Kate and Harry. Okay. All right, Shelly L, I'm going to say this much. When I heard that there were no invitations extended, that there were no invitations forthwith, I considered a lot of things. I'll just say that. I considered a lot of things. So, excuse me. I hear you and I heard you. So, okay. Thank you so much for the super chat. But yes, it does give pause. It does give pause. I'll leave it at that. And right here. Oh boy. Now, when I saw someone being pistol whipped with a replica toy gun, when I saw someone getting uh, their hair pulled and their somebody stuck their little fist in somebody else's mouth, I was like, wow, what a odd learned behavior for such a small person. But then, of course, people began to speculate. I'll say no more, but people were wondering, why would you put your hand in somebody's face like that? Were you raised by wolves or something? Where does one learn a behavior like that? Oh, thank you so much. Hello, Iffy, is it? Thank you. Thank you for the super sticker. So, that's all I'll say about that. And then, of course, there was the mute woman. I told you guys the last time I looked for this, they had muted part of the mute woman. The other part of this comment was muted. But I have to say, for a woman of 40, soon to be 41, for a mother of three, perhaps a stepmother to others, with all those things going on, the biggest compliment that you get from your family is that you keep your mouth shut, you don't take a stand, you don't really help people, you don't really know anything. That is the biggest attribute you have. And hopefully you can live to be 100, never making any waves, never donating anything, never really doing anything for anybody. That's it. And that, I would suppose, is enough to make a person very angry and volatile and moody and mean-spirited. That is probably enough. I don't know what else would cause that to happen. If I was in the prime of my life and I wasn't allowed to really think for myself, I don't appear to have any friends aside from my family. Um, I don't have anything. I don't have anything. And so, better to deflect my frustrations by accusing the angry black woman of mistreating me, even though I may possibly be the aggressor. Maybe that's what it is. Duchess of Drab. So one day, the tabloids couldn't stop talking about how boring she was, how lazy she was, and how horribly she dressed. And then once the angry black American woman comes, then all of a sudden she's keening, she's rebranding, she's firing, she's hiring, she's all these things that she's really not. But ever since May of 2018, Kate has been keening and coming into her own and always changing for the sake of change. Not really changing to do anything because she's not allowed to, but changing for the sake of change. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for that. 41, 42 next time. All right. So changing for the sake of change. And again, when she does change, her finest moments is when she's being Rachel Meghan Markle. Those are some pretty large shoes to try to fill. Kate the Peacemaker, which is such a contrast to Kate, who walked into the Westminster Abbey and wouldn't speak. Harry and Meghan tried to speak to them, and they would not return the favor by speaking in return. And this was a year before Oprah. This is while Harry and Meghan were trying to figure out, what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? They hadn't really been in Canada that long. They went to Canada for a Christmas break, and then they decided that they were not going to return. And, you know, they took some time away. And then finally they said, well, we're done. We're stepping back. And of course, that was leaked to the press before they were ready. The press accused Harry and Meghan of blindsiding the Queen. And so then everyone in the family walked around with a chip on their shoulders as though that was true, as though they didn't know that Harry and Meghan were in negotiation for months about making their exit. And so today we have a book from Robert Jobson that is going to accuse Harry of not only blindsiding the Queen, but now he's accused of being very nasty and loud and very repeatedly verbal, and none of it is true, of course, but that's the new narrative. That's the new narrative. All for Sussex X says royal family and the UK missed one of the greatest opportunities of all time. They will probably continue to crumble over the next 10 years. Amen to that. It is a huge missed opportunity. Huge. Big mistake. As was said in Pretty Woman, you just made a big mistake. Big mistake. Their popularity was waning before Meghan showed up. Now it's in the toilet. And of course, courtesy of Kensington Palace, among others, but you know, that was the main group of agitators that drove the Sussexes away from Kensington Palace and then eventually out of the country, leaking and conspiring and all of the above to drive the Sussexes away. And of course, who can forget this moment when the American Reporter made them so angry when they had that walkabout, which is where we started this conversation, was the walkabout. Now, he, the reporter, I forget what his name is, but I'm going to build a shrine to him later. He actually gave precedence to Harry and Meghan, which to me only makes sense, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the day the Queen died, I told you guys, I will never forget how the reporter made this big fuss about the plane carrying the Sussexes have just arrived in Aberdeen. Remember that? Oh, they went on and on about Harry and Meghan is here. No mention of the Cambridges. No mention of them. William is a heartbeat away from being king, and the day the Queen dies, there was no mention of the Cambridges before everybody was obsessed over where is Harry and Meghan, as though Harry was the next in line for the throne.
Emerged from the car. You can see Harry get out first, then you saw Meghan, and then the other two royals as well. And it was remarkable to now because they are the working royals, and it was a huge shock. It was silent. You could almost hear a pin drop when the four of them emerged from the car. You can see Harry get out first, then you saw Meghan, and then the other two royals as well. And it was remarkable to now because they are the working royals, and it was a huge shock. It was silent. You could almost hear a pin drop when the four of them emerged from the car. You can see Harry get out first, then you saw Meghan, and then the other two royals as well. And it was remarkable.
I love that. Do you know, I could let that play on loop all day. And you saw them get out of the car, first Harry, and then Meghan, and the other royals, and then the other royals, and then the other royals, and then the other royals. It's like a broken record, and then the other royals. You could see them get out of the car, first Harry, then Meghan, and then the other royals, and then the other royals.
Oh my God!
That was me. That was me. But I got to show you how I went to bed that night. That night, even though, I was mourning for the Queen too. Yeah, I was mourning too. This is me that night. I was going to go to the store, but then I stopped. So that was me after I watched this several hundred times. I could barely contain myself. I mean, eventually I did make it out of the house. At some point you got to get it together. So I did make it out the house, but it wasn't without trying. I had to really force myself, because every time I thought about it, I kept thinking about, and then the other royals, and then the other royals. So that made quite the impression upon me, because it was just something about the other royals, William and Kate friends are sickened by the portrayal of stony-faced princess in Harry and Meghan's trailer. If the face fit, wears it. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, now you guys, so far, I have not painted a very flattering image of the Cambridges, now the Welleses. But it gets worse because, again, at any given time, they have the opportunity to put a stop to these briefs, but they continue it. Like right here, kiss means war. Kiss means war. Harry films sabotage of Will and Kate's bombshell clip, time to ruin U.S. tour. Well, of course, the release had nothing to do with Harry. That was up to Netflix, right? Works for me. And then, of course, we in Will's bad book. Ooh, that's ominous, isn't it? Have you had a chance to read your brother's book? Prince William ignores question about Harry's memoir as supportive crowds greet him, that is, and Kate with huge cheers on their first royal engagement since the Duke's U.S. publicity blitz. I see the door open. I don't see anybody out there. I see a couple of cars, but okay, huge crowds. And then, of course, William, I'll fight back. I'll fight back. Prince warning shot to Harry and Meghan on eve of Netflix show. Or how about this one? Declaration of war. Now it's our turn. What? Who's briefing the reporters with this stuff? And then, of course, right here, success. Prince William and Kate's popularity plunges after Spare. Okay, I'm satisfied. It is what it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles. The Prince and Princess of Wales' popularity has plunged after the publication of Prince Harry's memoir, of course, Spare. You know, that was unavoidable. But the thing is this. 1 year, and I'm not speaking for the Sussexes, I'm just saying how I feel about it. 1 year after they left official royal duty, the attacks from the tabloids were going on without ceasing. Their position in Canada was exposed. Their location in LA exposed. And more briefing, and more briefing, and more briefing. Lily's born, and they go to war. They take an old woman to war against an infant over a name. Not one person in the royal family from the day the Sussexes got married until this very moment has ever stood up and spoken out against the hostility toward Meghan, against the hostility toward Harry. So every day that the royal family refuses to acknowledge the way the media has gone after the only woman of color in the family, even though they're going around preaching about the footballers who were offended, or they're pulling a curtain back from a statue that nobody wanted. They're going to food banks and shelters and so on. They're trying to help everybody else. They're preaching about mental health and mental awareness. They're helping everybody but Meghan and Harry. They're helping everybody but the babies Sussexes. These are kids. They will help anybody but their own. Anybody. They have nothing to say. She has something to say, though. This, of course, is the woman I introduced you guys to yesterday. She is the historian that is working on reparations. Well, actually, not the reparations directly, but what she's working on is revealing exactly what the association is between the royal family and, of course, the slave trade. And so she actually is from Texas. And even Dan Wooten is upset about her. Her name is Brooke Newman, and she is a historian. And that little piece of paper that you see by her face there on the left, that is a document saying that the money used to finance Kensington Palace came from the slave trade, thanks to William III. So there's going to be a lot of conversations had in the near future. And Charles is doing this because he has to, not because he wants to. Another archival, let me see what this is there. Another archival gem, the official seal of Royal Africa Company. Now, remember, they used to put, which was it, William III? I'm trying to remember. It was the Duke of York. I think it was the Duke of York. They used to brand the slaves with his initials. So that's how deeply entrenched the royal family was to the great shame in Western civilization. And that is, of course, the transatlantic slave trade. And right here, she posted this today. For non-historians, a glimpse at what is like, of what it's like to work with 17th century manuscripts in the UK archives, and why historians must be painstaking in their research. We spread years in the archives. I'm sorry, not spread. We spend years in the archives before transforming our research findings into books for public consumption. So to give you an idea of what Brooke Newman is up against, look at those pages. That is what they're working on. I suppose that's parchment paper, not made from wood pulp or anything like that. But this is where the history of the slave trade will be found, is in papers like this, ledgers, written history, and so on. So there you go. And also, King Charles' PR move on slavery is offensive, not progressive. Now, that is, of course, according to Kehinde Andrews. You may have seen him on television before. He says apparently King Charles supports research into his family links to slavery. The story should be how it has taken until 2023 for the palace to open up the royal archives so that such a study could be done. But in the year of, in the year of, let me see, is it PGF, George Floyd? Okay, yes. Well, post George, oh, there it is right there. Post George Floyd protests. We live in a brave new world where anything anti-racist is possible. Rather than seeing this as some sort of a positive step, I can't even say the research is better than nothing. In a current atmosphere, it is nothing. Since the great anti-racist reset, we have seen companies like Lloyd's of London, who have so much blood on their hands they can never be cleansed, apologize and commit to token reparations. Universities like Glasgow and Bristol are researching their obvious links to slavery. Most recently, The Guardian offered a mea culpa, Latin for through my fault, because of their founding being bankrolled by cotton. In other words, slavery money. Owning up to a company. Historical sins is the brand aware step that takes more than the image of the business, that it does take a tone for the racism that shaped the institution. So get used to more stomach churning campaigns. Well, that is true. It is not going to be easy, and it might be rather painful for some, but it is necessary because this is not going away. And I feel like if you're making reparations for people during the Second World War, if you're making reparations for the Japanese that were in American internment camps, everybody's getting some sort of reparation except for Black people. So I think that the conversation is well overdue, long overdue, and that it is going to take a very long time to atone, if ever, but it has to be done. So, speaking of atonement, Arkansas requests federal government cover 100% of cleanup. That's right, Arkansas. Governor Jethering Bodine is asking Uncle Joe Biden for some money. Why is it every time a Republican says some disparaging, upsetting, and humiliating things about President Joe Biden, that all of a sudden they got to start passing their hats because they have found themselves in a heap of trouble? As a matter of fact, Jethering Bodine, um, aka Sarah Huckabee Sanders, is the governor of Arkansas. And as you know, God rest their souls, a few people have lost their lives, but now they got to pass the hat, and they're hoping that Joe Biden, President of the United States, is going to bankroll their recovery. Yep, that's right. The love child of Uncle Fester and some woman in Arkansas is actually going to put her hand out and hope that Joe Biden puts a check in it. So good luck, Jethering. You're going to need it. And of course, President Biden is a better person than I am, because I don't know if I'd be willing to help with that. You know, the last time someone had to ask Joe Biden for help because of a storm, it was, of course, Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis was talking all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, there he is dragging his little fat knuckles and that swollen ring finger, and them arms look like they just pinned him on him or something like that. He had to ask Joe Biden for some money. And of course, when he couldn't get the money that he wanted without, eating some humble pie, then all of a sudden he went and put on his white go-go boots. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what I'm gonna do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Are you ready, Boots? Start walking. So yes, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader turned governor, Ron DeSantis, had to pass the hat to try to get some money from Joe Biden. Just like Jethering, they always end up needing help. Now, of course, I asked you guys if you watched the video. If not, please go to the community tab. There's a very well-edited version of what I shared yesterday, The Curse of the Koh-i-Noor. As a matter of fact, there's like a little extra footage there that you might find interesting. It's only about 10 minutes long. So please go to the community tab at the top of the Royal Sussex channel, and you will find the link there. And right here, check it out. Gloria Johnson, and Justin Jones, and Justin Pearson. Are they both named Justin? Arrived at Fisk University, Tennessee, in Nashville, Tennessee on Friday, where they are meeting with Vice President Kamala Harris. Jones and Pearson were expelled from the Tennessee House of Representatives the day before. Johnson survived an effort to be expelled. So, if you guys didn't hear about it, Kamala Harris gave like the mother of all speeches for her career at that gathering. So I don't have the link for it But it was pretty good. I saw it on Twitter. It was very, very good. She preached. It was a very good speech for Kamala Harris. I'm so proud of her. And of course, Ron DeSantis, not so much. I'm not proud of him. He didn't let a mouse whip his behind. He's sitting up there talking all that stuff, and he let that mouse drag him across the floor. Now listen here, you idiot. The next time you try to mess with the Mickey Mouse, next time you try to come after Disney, I'm going to come down on you like a ton of bricks. You got my meaning? Now get out of here so I can say hi to these boys and girls. You got played. Everybody gets played. Everybody plays a fool. And you've been played too. Now get out of here, you idiot. Now go. Anyway, you guys, it's been almost 2.5 hours of dragging and reading. And I hope the Cambridges were listening. I hope that they will see this as a teachable moment. Please call in your dogs. Talk to the press. Tell them to leave the Sussexes alone. The problems that you guys are having is not because of Harry and Meghan. What's his name? Robert Jobson. The guy that buys his suits from Omar the tent maker. Is not going to help your case. Your cause is pretty lost. And you know what? I wish them happiness. Just like Harry said with his stepmother. Like Harry said with his stepmother, I hope that they are happy, and then that way they'll be less dangerous, right? That's what Harry said. Harry has a good heart. Harry is thoughtful when a lot of people are not. Oh, Lydia has the link right there. Oh, let me catch that before we get away from me. So if you guys want to see Kamala Harris, Lydia has just put the link right there on the page. I'm putting it at the top of the chat. And for those of you guys where it's getting way too late, have a good night. We are done. Whenever you see our queens, then you know we are done. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And of course, I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. And please go and watch the video in the community tab for the Koh-i-Noor. You'll find it very interesting. And if you missed the edited videos, I know for sure you're going to love that one. So, and thank you guys for all the kind compliments you gave about the video in the comments section. Greatly appreciate it. I could assure you. Thank you for all of the generous donations. Oh, by the way, I received something from Amazon. It took me a week to go and get it, but I did finally go and get it. I just had some other stuff coming, so I wanted to make sure I got everything at one time. But yes, I did go and pick it up. I don't want to say the name, but thank you so much for that. You did ask me the other day, and you even mentioned it in the comment, I believe it was. And yes, so I finally went over there. But yes, I love it. I've already unboxed it. Oh, yes. And yes, you said, I hope that's your item. And it certainly is. It's the, what do you call it's those rechargeable under the counter lights that you like put under the counter. I'm going to put mine in the curio cabinet, I believe. But anyway, it's like a little track light. So thank you so much for that. I did get it. And thank you all. I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you, moderators, for keeping us a safe space. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for trusting me to do this work. That means more to me than you guys will ever imagine. I can't even put it into words. So thank you so much. Happy Easter in advance. Yeah, we'll have Easter tomorrow. So if you guys are with family and everything, stay in the moment. Don't worry about Royal Sussex. But for those of you that may be by yourself tomorrow or whatever, Royal Sussex will be here for show. All right. Let me see. Look at a couple of comments before we go. Baron, I thought the book was about Charles. Well, it's supposed to be about Charles, but everybody knows that if you want to have the hook, you have to throw Harry and Meghan in there. Harry and Meghan always sells. So yeah, you got to throw some Harry and Meghan in there. Let me see here. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna post that to the top of the chat. Here is the link to the Royal Sussex wish list. Now remember, no one is obliged to purchase anything from that list, but if you do, it will go to my shipping distribution center for Royal Sussex. You know, the same Royal Sussex that always reaches out to other people for comments. That Royal Sussex. And anyway, you're not obliged to order anything. It is not required. But if you do, then it turns a regular little mundane afternoon, a little boring afternoon, into Christmas Day. So it's like I just made an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show. No, actually, it's like I'm a guest on the Oprah Winfrey Show. I just reach under my chair and there's a surprise. So that's what that is for. So thank you very much. And thanks for reminding them, Lydia. And Leslie F., you say, let me see. Oh, did I highlight it? There we go. Baron, May the 6th, everyone should use that beautiful Archie birthday card drawn by a squatty as their profile picture. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for a day. Yes. Yes, I think I saw that. I haven't had a chance to save it yet, but I certainly will. We are going to blanket. We're going to blanket social media with Prince Archie. You know, I'm so glad that I can say it officially, even though, you know, that didn't stop me, but Prince Archie. You guys, I almost forget that Archie and Lily are Prince and Princess. Now, I know that that's not the most important thing in the world, but I am petty. And just as I want for my own children, I want the very best for Lily and Archie. Whenever I shop for a baby shower or something like that, I get this weird baby brain where all I want to do is just order every little wee little nappy this and a little baby that and a little onesie this and a little, you know what I mean? That's like therapy. So, yes, I want the best for those children. And just as in the past, I found myself adopting Prince Harry and that other person, the rest of the royals, I have adopted the Sussex children. So, you know, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. They are within our care and our concern. So I just want the best for them. And if the best is for them to have their birthright, then so be it. I want them to have everything they got coming. Let me see. Okay, so that's it then. And to our queens, thank you. Oh, by the way, thank you, Leslie F. And to our queens, thank you so much for those dynamic cheering, Harry and Meghan. May they be blessed and may they be fruitful and so on and so forth. Let's see here. I hope the Sussexes go on some interview spree and call out the ungodly family on their shenanigans. Tear it all down since they won't stop the smears, leaks, and lies. Well, cookies and cream, that's exactly what's going to happen. And that is what has happened in so many words. But they're doing it their way. They're doing it the right way. They're being patient and methodical and very deliberate. Everything is very deliberate. And if you want respect, that is the way to do it, is to be deliberate, to say what you mean and mean what you say. And that's exactly what the Sussexes have done. And that's why it is so easy to support them because they are doing it the right way. They're not overly aggressive. They're not in anybody's face, but they're speaking their truth. And the world is responding. And more importantly, the young people, the future, they're responding. The Sussex squad, they're responding. So, I have to tell you guys, at my age, as many times as I've made this loop around the sun, I'm not really a group or organization type of person. But what's so appealing about the Sussex squad is that there are no leaders. Everybody interprets things in the way they see fit. And we stand in our own truth, and I like that because I don't do well in places where there's such a big hierarchy. It's not that I don't like authority; I'm fine with it, but when someone in authority causes you to lose respect for them, then it's very difficult to be in those places. But and this is why I encourage people to go to the other platforms, see what's out there, check out those other Sussex friendly spaces. I don't ever want to be the sole voice that anybody listens to. I don't think that's healthy. I think having a variety of opinions, a variety of spaces is better for everyone. So that's why I go to other spaces and I support other spaces because, even though I don't always agree with everything, the point is they're here for that common cause, and that is to help the world be a better place. And of course, the Sussexes are doing that. And by helping them, we're helping a lot of people. By helping them, we have done some extraordinary things with the charities and such. So, and awareness. We have been making people aware of things. And that's good. I did not see that coming. I thought I was just going to practice and then start my travel channel. But instead, I stayed. And I'm glad I did because I think there's a greater sense of purpose with the Sussex squad. So I am glad for it. But yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much and happy Easter, everyone. Oh, you're not seeing the link? Oh, that's because I took it down. Here, I'll put it back up. Let me put it back up. Wait, I can find it. I can just scroll back to it. Wait, that's not it. Okay, here it is. Here it is. It's at the top of the chat, and I'm going to put it up there right now. Okay. All right, check it out. It's at the top of the chat again. All right. Anything else? Any last thoughts or issues or concerns? Or I'll tell you what's concerning. The Curse of Koh-i-Noor video only has 4,500 views in 13 hours. 4,500 views. Now that's alarming. That's alarming. I'm alarmed. But anyway, so if you guys ever want to hear the end of it, go and watch that video. Otherwise, I am going to go on and on and on and on and on and on until y'all get that video up to at least, I'm going to give it 7,000 views. So, so right now, if everybody watches it twice, I won't have anything to complain about. And don't forget, you could always share it as well. So thank you, Cookies and Cream. All right. So with that, really, for just $1.37? Is it those yellow ones? What are those called? Those yellow flowers that smell so sweet. I love those. They look like little teacups. Oh, thank you, Shelly L. Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay, I think this is it. This is solid. This speaks to everyone. Happy Easter, everyone. Thank you, Marcia Ware. And with that, let's cue the Ginger Avenger, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Dun, dun, dun. Bum, bum, bum. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Turn me loose. Happy Easter. They probably have cameras in Archie's Easter basket. So if anybody goes over to their house or if they send a basket, I would be very careful because, well, Megan's a Hollywood actress and there's probably cameras in that Easter basket. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, you guys. I'm going to focus. I'm going to focus. I'm not going to drag as much, but there's more coming out with that book. So I'm going to be rested and able to get into it this week. I will, but I had to get that out of my system. But yeah, it's going to be a weird week. I'm sure they're going to try to carry this over. And on Easter, of all times, Easter. Oh, well. Well, sometimes you have to take it to the street. All right. I will see you guys. Love you guys. And thank you to our queens for those great kids. And, of course, cue the Ginger Avenger. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. Okay, I'll do it after Ginger Avenger. But of course, it's one of those videos, Susie Q. I'm just warning you, it's one of my videos with the, well, anyway, I'll do it after Ginger Avenger.
and how my day was, how long I was waiting, and I asked her if I could have a hug, and she hugged me back. So that was just quite an amazing moment. I'm still shaking now. I can't really explain what the feeling was when she did it, but it was really nice.
Why did you feel like you wanted to hug her?
Because, I don't know, it just went through my mind, like everyone was kind of cheering me on to, and I guess I just felt like I needed to in a way. Like I just really wanted to at least hug her, because I look up to her in some ways, and it just felt like it was the right thing to do.
I feel like she's going through a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just it's still such a sad thing like that is happening now.
Why do you feel a bit of sympathy for her? Just because the Queen's passing, or because of her whole, relationship with the royal family?
I guess in both. So because of the Queen died, and also because of everything. But I did see that. I feel like it was quite nice to see William and Kate and Meghan and Harry together, and it was fine. But yeah, I just wanted to show her that she's welcome here, I guess, and wanted to hug her after everything that's happened really now.